Welcome to Between Two Toms. I'm your host, Matt. This is my brother Tom. This is my dad Tom. And this is Big Joe. This is where we are going to go in-depth into the Faldetta Family Fantasy Football League. And so let's get it started here. We're going to talk about this past week's game. This is week 9, so we're over the hump of the season right now. So we're going to start with my left with the South Park Cows. And their owner, Tom, is here. How do you feel that this week went for you?
Well, I lost. First loss of the cow. It's really, hurts me deep. Even worse so being that Matt Forte was on my bench, who probably would have won me this week.
Yeah, 21.6 points on your bench. And add insult to injury, Hannah did not even put in a defense.
No, it really shows a lack of commitment to the league. Really, though.
From the league's champion, lack of commitment.
Or maybe, I can't speak for Hannah. Maybe she thought she could beat me without a defense.
And she did.
Well,
And she did.
yeah, that is true.
So, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about with your game?
Well, I'm gonna hopefully rebound this week. Take it to my older brother, the brother who is not here tonight.
Yeah, and you're looking at the season at a 3-6 at week 9. So how do you feel that you're going to bounce back from this? 6 teams get into the playoffs, so you have time.
I need some luck now. I need some luck. I need Ken drop game. Luckily, I'm gonna beat him this week. Cross my fingers. Yeah. So hopefully I can get a little lucky, get into the playoffs. Anything can happen once you're there. So here's hoping.
All right, so we'll move on to the other Tom's game. So, Dad, the first loss for the Punishers. How do you think it went?
Well, the first loss was last week. I won this week.
You're right.
Yeah, so
it's real easy to win a game when Nick doesn't set a full lineup for you.
Yeah, Tom Brady on bye, his wide receiver on bye, and his kicker on bye.
As a wise man once said, a W is a W.
That is very true. How do you feel your team's going forward? You have Eric Dickerson in your lineup as your tight end, scoring a big old goose egg. Dante Moncrief with only 0.7. How do you think you're gonna fill those spots coming up?
I'll find a way. The Punisher team has rallied this year. I'm only playing Joe and the Raccoon City Stars. Yeah, so I'm not really concerned about Joe and his lackluster performance this year.
Big words. Todd Gurley and the Jared Goff pickup are really paying off for you. The Rams are kind of carrying your team right now. You have 28.4 points out of Jared Goff with a 311-yard game and 4 touchdowns.
Definitely, Goff has been huge for me this season. After my injury with Aaron Rodgers, Goff has come through in the clutch. They've shown that they can win.
Yeah. And then you look at Todd Gurley with 59 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns and 22 points. You can't argue with those numbers. You can't ask for much more. You just hope that your opponent picks a lineup so you kind of have some competition.
They don't feel, maybe they're just scared of the Punishers. They don't want to pick a whole lineup.
That happens. Dealing out too much punishment.
The 8-1 record is really scary. Nick Foles 2-7 out of that game with only 34 points scored. Not setting the full lineup, it'd be really hard for him to bounce back and get one of those 6 playoff spots that are so highly competitive right now.
He is protecting our freedom.
He is protecting our freedom, and we salute him for that.
He's not protecting that trophy, though.
He is not protecting the trophy. So we're gonna bounce over to my game. The Barrington Matty Bears with 103.4 points against Cadiz Killer Kittens with 76. I was picked all across the board to lose last week, and I took that to heart. I really made sure my guys went out there to prove a point. The Cup of Joe's crew really, I feel like, disrespected me a little bit, and I feel like this was a respect game for myself.
They took the week off because they knew you put the whoop down, you put the eat down so bad there.
Yeah, maybe this week I will take the week off. Russell Wilson with 23.6 points, Marshawn Lynch with an 18.3. Especially with all that's happened with my team this past week, Jay Jai being traded to Philly, not knowing really what his production was going to be. Kelvin Benjamin being my number 1 wide receiver going into the season, being traded to Buffalo, and him not starting this week. It was a real game of adversity.
Jay Jai did start this week. You just didn't play him.
Well, there was no way to know that what his production would have been on a new team, and even though he did start, he was.
Philly's offense right now, at least in the league, is pretty explosive. I probably would have took the chance to start him. But.
Well, I mean,
it's easy to be.
Hey man, you won.
It's easy to look at it from the outsider's perspective, you know. Jay, I mean, he only rushed for 8 carries. Same thing with LeGarrette Blount. And really, the third guy, whose name escapes me right now, really got the majority of the carries. So, I mean, the other guy got 2 touchdowns, and LeGarrette Blount wasn't really able to do much. And Jay, I mean, got the 1 touchdown, but really it was off a long run for 40-something yards. So other than that run, he was only around for about 30 yards on the rest of his carries.
So being that he had this, not a great game, but a decent game, do you start him going forward, or do you sit him on the bench?
Well, this week coming up, he's on bye. So the problem with Jay is because he already served his bye for the Dolphins. All right.
2 byes in 1 season.
2 byes in 1 season.
Clearly we're boring you. So let's move on.
All right, we'll move on. So we're going to go to Joe's team versus his own child, where he laid the smackdown. Joe scoring 106.9 versus Joey's 72. Really big performance out of Carson Wentz. His running back, both of his running backs, Ezekiel Elliott and Kamara from New Orleans, scoring 25.2. Just a real big performance out of those 3. But
how can you do that to his son? I mean,
really,
his firstborn son, to give him such a beating.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
I mean, he's only 11.
On him at this point.
He's only 11, and just a 30-point smackdown. It really was just.
Maybe Joey was already on vacation. That's
Joey and the rest of his team was already on the cruise, and it's sad to see when a father takes that much of a beat down on their son. But Joey's shown promise in a few positions. Joe Mixon kind of showing up for once with 10.6 points, and Julio Jones did have that foot injury that kind of lingered in the back half of the Atlanta game, but he's still 6 receptions and 118 yards. It's hard to see with Ted Ginn on his bench. Really could have helped him in that flex position where he started. Nelson Aguilar only had 2 receptions for 36 yards. And Ted Ginn on his bench with 59 and a touchdown. That really could have propelled him a little closer to victory. But Joe just overpowered him this time.
Yeah. Not much else you can say about it.
Yeah, the Raccoon City Stars are on a roll right now. They're a team to be reckoned with.
It's true.
All right, we're going to move on to the Kevin O'Shea Cowboys, which is Ken's team, versus Judy's reigning men. Judy picking up a win without a tight end. Really not setting the lineup. And we had a discussion about this before the game, that we needed to tell Judy to set a full lineup so it is a little more integral to the league.
But really, the problem is
I must say that I tried, and the password didn't work. I know I reached out to her. She was busy working. I know she was very upset that she wasn't able to put her lineup in the way she wanted to. But she did rise to the occasion, and even without a tight end, she found a way to win.
Well,
it's really the problem we have here is the Schaefer's not setting their lineups. They're not taking the fantasy football league seriously.
If they're winning, they're respecting.
Well,
I mean, Nick put up less than 40 points this week, Dad.
Nick is saving the company.
He is, and in that point, he should score 100.
As Joey said, just, you're on the plane. Whip out your phone, lean on your gun, set your lineup. It's easy, it's simple.
But really, Judy riding the coattails of T.Y. Hilton with a massive game of 175 yards and 2 touchdowns, 29.5 points. And Marvin Jones with 107 yards and 2 touchdowns with a 22.7 point. Really just kind of overpowering Ken this week. I mean, Judy's always been good through and through, and I think if she could actually consistently set a lineup, she could be that team once again.
The team that always loses in the second round of the playoffs, that team, right?
That team.
That team, right, of course.
But the team that would take one of those 6 spots that are still very much up for grabs. And that is all of our games for this week.
Anyone have anything to grab or add before we jump into next week's matchups?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on. So this week we have me versus Judy this week. Judy, this is being filmed on Friday, so Judy still has a couple days, but still yet to put in a full lineup. She's rocking with the Kansas City defense on bye right now, and I made some moves to try and get to accompany my buys and I hope that Judy sets the lineup so that this could be a fair match. After
No, man, don't say that. Come on, the
I
win's a win.
want the
She hasn't set her lineup. She deserves to lose.
the win.
A W is a W.
Look at all the research that your brother Ken does, and what has he got to show for it?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Well, no, that's not true. It's not true. Every night when he sits down at his computer, he can stare at the trophy with Hannah's name on it.
Wow. Big words coming out right now. But like I was saying, Thursday night did happen. Russell Wilson with a relatively big night with 238 yards and 2 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson with 29 yards and a fumble. Not a big night for him. But I want you to set a full lineup. I want a good, clean win this week. So we'll move on. You got the South Park Gals versus Kevin O'Shea Cowboys. The middle versus the elder.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can, right the ship this week and get a win. I really do need Ken to drop a game or two for me to take over his spot in the playoffs. It really does hurt, though, because I have Des Bryant in my lineup, and he's questionable. I had to take... So because I put Des Bryant in my lineup, I took out Fitzgerald, and he played on Thursday. I wasn't keeping up with that, so...
Yeah, 10 reception, 113 yards is a relatively big game for Blair Fitz. 113 yards is 11 points.
I should have put him in my flex, hindsight being 2020. I should have put Des in my flex, but, hey... I'm hoping that regardless, I still pull out this W. I need the W to keep my season alive at this point.
So right now you're rocking at wide receiver Des Bryant and Antonio Brown and then Isaiah Correll in your flex. So how do you feel about those picks rather than...
Isaiah Correll's been terrible all season, but hey, I have faith that he will turn it around to save the Cows season.
So you are projected to win by over 7 points to Ken, where he had Doug Baldwin play for 95 yards and a nice 9.5 points. Do you think that, how do you feel that this week's going to go for you?
Like I said, I'm hoping that I can pull out a victory, and that's all I have to say about it.
All right,
Let's move on.
we'll move on. So we got Captain and the Kids versus Katie's Killer Kittens. I don't know about this game. I think this game is very much kind of a garbage shoot. I think Katie's team is respectable, and I think Joey's team needs some love. But Katie playing Josh Brown from Arizona, only 2 receptions for 27 yards.
I guess they don't have Wi-Fi on the boat for her to change her lineup.
Well, she's playing him. He did play.
Well, when they went to Florida, you could go to any Starbucks and log on.
We don't know what day they were in Florida.
Well,
Well,
the point is, maybe she should have done a little more research. That play may have not been the best, but we'll see how this one shakes out.
So I guess the real question here is will Katie beat down her son just like Joe did the week prior?
2 weeks in a row of
2
Joey
weeks in a row.
beat down.
I definitely think Joey's getting another beatdown.
You think
Katie's
so?
got a strong team. Yeah. Joey made some poor choices as management this year. And his record shows it.
And he even came out and said that he was blaming Uncle Craig for his
So do we consider Uncle
downfall.
Craig like his head coach, his GM? Where is Uncle
Yeah,
Craig in
he
this?
took one of the Cup of Joes. He took some shots about his age, and that's why he lost. Yeah, there's no age in fantasy football.
There's no friends in fantasy
There's
football
no
either.
friends
And there's no family in fantasy football either. And we're gonna move on from there. So, Dad, you're versing the Raccoon City Stars. So once again, big brother versus little brother. You got 10 points at the Seattle defense with a fumble recovery, a safety, and a block. 10 points is really all you can ask for a defense. How do you feel you're doing
My
this week?
chances are good. I like Golf. He's been clutch the last couple of weeks. Came up big for me last week and to recover after my only loss of the season. And I like my chances this week.
Yeah, I think Goff's going against a really hurt Houston team, and I think this one's going to be
what
kind
else
of
is
the nail in
something
the
to think
coffin.
about is that Joe is starting Ben Roethlisberger. That's bad juju. It's bad
Yeah.
juju. You can't, especially in that house, you cannot start Ben
He may be
Roethlisberger.
sleeping on the couch for the rest of the week.
He might be sleeping outside at this point.
Maybe.
It's getting cold out there.
Oh yeah, it's getting real cold.
Might want to look at some character picks there, Joe. All right.
Working for Katie.
It is. Last game of the week, we have Finkel's Einhorn versus Luckby to Brady tonight. So Nick versus Hannah. And once again, we look at Nick's lineup where he's got Wendell Smallwood from Philly on bye and Tyreek Hill in his lineup on bye. That being said, he does have Jimmy Graham in, who had 6 receptions for 27 yards and 2 touchdowns at the tight end position.
Wow.
It's a pretty good start, but I mean,
Pretty good
realistically speaking, if he doesn't set a full lineup, we can't expect Nick to ever win a game if he can't set a full lineup. Hopefully when he gets back, if he gets back tonight, he'll look at his lineup. Maybe you can send him a nice message like, hey, set your dang lineup.
And I think
He's on the message board, so maybe it's all of us should reach out to him.
Yeah. I think
Hey, Nick, set your lineup.
set your lineup. And I think Hannah has just been so dominant this year that she's going to continue to
It's
do
really
so.
hard to look at Hannah because Hannah's team doesn't have a lot of holes to it. I mean,
Yeah.
Dad has a better record, and I still think that Dad is, the front runner at the moment. But realistically speaking, if all of Hannah's team players play and none of them get hurt, it's hard to see her losing.
She is a one-time champion. Myself as a 2-time champion, I've been there. I know how to win the big
So
games.
if you do win this week, are you going to change your name to the Three Peats?
I will not.
Okay.
I will not.
You don't want any bad karma on it. You don't want to call it. You don't want to jinx yourself.
Absolutely not.
So I think we need to do an official pick'em throughout the week. So we'll start with my game. So me versus Judy. Tom, who do you think's going to win?
I cannot in good conscience pick Judy if she's not going to set a lineup. I'm going to go with the Barrington Batty Bears.
I agree. I'm gonna pick myself this week. I feel confident, even though Adrian Peterson was not great this week. I think I'm gonna pull out the win this week. What do you think, Grandpa?
I don't know. It's going to be tough.
It is. It is going to be tough, especially with the lack of performance.
So you're saying you pick both?
You say you picking Judy?
Yeah, I think Judy will do it.
All right. What do you think, Dad?
I also am going to pick Judy to win this one.
Okay.
You
Well,
have
I
to
mean,
do
he
it.
has to live with her, so it's understandable.
He also does not want to be sleeping outside with Joe.
I mean, Dad works outside all day. I imagine he likes to come inside and warm up a bit.
All right. Our next game, we have the South Park Cows, which is your team versus the Kevin O'Shea Cowboys. Who do you think's going to win this week, Tom?
South Park Cows only dropped one game. Ignore my 3-6 record. They've only dropped one game since I've changed the name to the South Park Cows. I do not see them dropping another one. I've had a rallying speech with my Cows. They're ready to play. I'm picking myself.
I don't think so.
You're
I don't think so.
You're
You
going-
don't think you think Ken's got me beat?
Yes, I think Ken's got to do it. Well, he's got Hannah as a...
As a manager?
As a manager?
As an
As
advisor.
advisor. Oh, okay.
The defending champion as his advisor. I think I'm going to go with Ken as well. I think
No
Tom's got
faith.
some bad matchups across the board that I'm not sure how are going to pan out. I think Ken's team throughout the year has been pretty solid, and I think they're going to do it for him. What do you think, Dad?
Oh, I think Tommy's winning this one.
There we
I think
go.
he's due. Yeah, like I said, he talked to the Cows.
I'm the original champion here. You gotta have some faith in me to pull my season around.
Were you
Maybe.
the first champion? Yeah.
Yes, Grandma, I was the first champion.
Oh wow.
Thanks, Grandma. Moving on.
All right, moving on. We got Captain and Kids versus Katie's Killer Kittens. I think this is a pretty unanimous one, right?
I think Katie's gonna take this one. There's no way.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think Katie's
He
got
always
this
getting
one.
another beat down.
We all concur.
I don't even have a single parent that's not willing to just whoop that child.
Moving on. All right, so Dad, we got your team versus the Raccoon City Stars. How do you feel about this week?
I'm confident about this week. Like you had said previously, that my defense had a big day. Golf has been clutch. I like my chances.
So you're picking yourself.
Yes, I am.
All right. What do you think, Grandpa? Who do you think's winning?
I think he's sitting so close to me, I better take him.
I was on the fence about this one in particular, but the suspension of Ezekiel Elliott coming down earlier this week, I feel like it is important. That is going to be a factor in Joe losing this week. Because I mean, who knows who's going to start in Dallas this week? I think that is going to hurt him. I'm giving Dad the win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that as well. You know, Joe beat me 2 weeks ago and really on the back of Ezekiel Elliott. So taking away that large point pool is really going to hurt him. You know, I'm not even really sure who he's going to put in for him. Maybe he'll put in Alfred Morris or Darren McFadden and hope that he gets the kind of production that Ezekiel Elliott had. But I don't think that he's going to have.
He's got a 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to fill that gap in his lineup this week.
Too big of a gap for him to overcome.
Yeah. All right, last game. We're looking at Finkel's Einhorn versus Luckby to Brady tonight. So, Nick versus Hannah. What are we thinking?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I think this is unanimous also.
I think it's important to look at the fact that Ezekiel Elliott is out. I think that will affect Prescott. That being said, Nick doesn't set a lineup. Nick's not winning this game. It's just not going to happen.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with luck be to Brady, and I'm going to go with Hannah,
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell versus Indianapolis is a great matchup for her. She's got Leonard Fournette versus the Chargers, and Leonard Fournette, even though playing against the Chargers' good run defense,
He's
Leonard
been solid all year.
Exactly, he hasn't had a week less than double digits, so I'm going with Hannah as well.
I think we're all in agreement on that one.
So, real quick before we end, why don't we go through the 5 not Judy quality moments of the week?
Okay.
The 5 not shooting quality moments
I
of
think
the
we
week.
have to start
Of
with
this week or last week?
of last week.
Last week? Alright. So, we'll look at, I think
Nick not starting a full lineup.
it's got to be one.
Not Judy quality.
The Judy not playing a tight end, but still winning the game.
That's
Not Judy quality.
Not Judy quality on the Kevin O'Shea Cowboys. That is not a Judy quality performance.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I would say that not having a tight end and still winning the game, that's definitely Judy quality.
That's impressive. That is.
I have to agree. That is Judy quality. But Kevin O'Shea Cowboys, Ken's team, not Judy quality this week or last
Judy
week.
probably not making the playoffs this season. Not Judy quality.
And you know, for the third one, I have to say your team, not Judy quality. Once again, we have a team that has not set an entire lineup, beating a team with a full research lineup.
I'm gonna have to, I'll have to accept this one. Not Judy quality.
All right, and then, I mean,
We can skip the 5th one for tonight. This is the first week.
Dad playing Eric Dickerson at tight end for 0 receptions and 0 yards. Not a Judy quality performance.
So, farewell here.
And I think that's going to do it. Does anybody have any final messages they would like to?
As the commissioner, Grandpa, you want to say any words of wisdom?
You set your lineup.
Set your
I
lineup.
said we're a real champion. Okay.
Set your lineup, and good luck to everyone. I'm Matt,
Tom.
And Tom.
Joe.
and this is Between Two Toms. Have a good night.